So check out your partner. I'd like you to start. Decide who's going to go first, and decide if you are allowing touching or not. Just kind of talk with your partner and express your preference, if they could touch your shoulder or... And decide who's going to go first, and if the first person would break away from the handshake, the second person stays frozen, create a new statue around, behind, above, below, somewhere around that person. Great. When you sense that they're frozen, then move. Great. And let's cue that first track of music, please. Follow that impulse. Part of you is a part of this statue, your facial expressions, your feet, your toes, your hands. Find your way one by one back to that handshake. Thank you, partner. So what we're about to show you is a part of the world we live in is not the world we live in. And it's one of our new artistic pieces with Survivor Theater Project. everybody. Good evening. My name is Melissa Redwin, and I'm the director of Survivor Theater Project. And I just want to thank Charlie Tesh and this amazing crew for having us on Dead Air Live here in Somerville. And I'd love to tell you a little bit about Survivor Theater Project before we move on with the show. So we started in 2008. We are a performing arts company. We are run by survivors of sexual abuse and violence for survivors and for the greater community at large. Our goal is to bring our survivor voices and our stories out into the public discourse. We dance, we write plays, we choreograph, movement pieces, we do performed poetry, spoken word, hip hop, anything that our members kind of bring to the table, we put forth out into the world as activist art. And we have workshops that run each fall and sometimes in the spring in eastern and western Massachusetts. And these workshops are for survivors of sexual abuse and violence, adults that come together and create a play in just a couple of months. And then some of those plays and performance pieces go on to tour around New England and different places in the country. And our goal is really to engage and inspire audiences and communities and really the world with our stories and to really join us in the struggle to end violence and create a better world. So tonight we're actually going to show some more of these performance pieces and selections from our recent plays. And we're also going to show a little bit of the process like you saw when the show opened. We were playing a game that we not only use as a theater game to kind of build an ensemble and get a sense of how to work with one another artistically, but we also use these games to actually create artistic work and to create theater. So we're going to show some of that as well. So it'll be kind of a fluid performance and process showing and sharing. I'd like to say that the stuff we're going to show tonight is trauma sensitive. We will be talking about the abuse that we have suffered, but we are not going to be reenacting any abuse stories or traumatic moments, okay? So you can expect that. And I want to just now introduce a few selections from The World We Live In Is Not the World We Live In. That's one of our new touring plays, and it's directed by Ruthia Lee, assistant directed by Ilana Gertroy, and written and performed by the performers themselves. So let me introduce them. The World We Live In Is Not the World We Live In.
Hi. Are you tired of being harassed everywhere you go? Are you sick of the word no carrying absolutely no weight whatsoever? Are you dying to go out dancing without being groped and ogled and molested by gross, creepy jerks? Then you need Chastity Box. Chastity Box is an easy-to-use product that sends the message to folks of every intelligence level that you, in fact, do not wish for them to touch your body. Chastity Box just slips on and instantly removes any sex appeal you might possess, making it 99% less likely that you will be sexually harassed tonight. Chastity Box now comes with clear messages printed directly on the box, so there really can be no misconstruing that you wish to be left alone. So buy one now and be rape-free tonight. Some restrictions may apply. Chastity Box will not be responsible for any adverse outcome while using Chastity Box. Some folks might be such jerks that they never get the picture. Chastity Box recommends wearing clothes under Chastity Box and not leaving the house unattended. See store for details.
Soy amor.
sexually abused by the time they are 18. Almost half of these children, 43% to be exact, is sexually abused by a family member. Most rapes are not reported to the police, and 15 out of 16 rapists will never spend a day in jail. These facts are hard to talk about in any world.
As you just heard, survivors of sexual abuse and violence, they experience not only the abuse or trauma, but oftentimes overlapping oppressions in addition. And this overlap can create a huge amount of obstacles to healing. There are so many, but racism is experienced by survivors of color. Economic injustice is experienced disproportionately. Survivors who have an immigrant experience are going to potentially have language or cultural barriers when they're trying to seek help. LGBTQ survivors often feel isolated, even in safe havens, places they're trying to get help as well, or feel judged. And when you're faced with something like PTSD or other mental health issues that are related to your abuse, those things in particular can impede your healing, and they can inhibit your ability to keep your job. They can inhibit, so many different aspects of just you trying to build a life for yourself and to heal and to live a full life as a full human on the earth. And so I say all of this to you because I want to entreat you. I want to ask of you. We need more help, and we need more people on our team. We need more allies. We need more communities of support. We need more culturally appropriate services and healing providers. We need more funding. We need a bigger team, and we need a lot more people willing to speak out and up and to hold our hands as survivors and to witness and to help us make a better world. I'd like to introduce another performer, and this performer comes from the Boston Survivor Theater Project Touring Company. Asher Rodriguez, and this piece is written by Asher, and it's called Latina Mafia.
Cuando tú eras dueña de mí, dijiste que familia era la cosa más importante. Sangre es la más gruesa, familia es la más segura. Sangre proteja, solamente sangre respeta. Eso es lo que dijiste cuando fuiste dueña de mí, como una mafia latina. When you owned me, you said family. Yeah, it is the most important thing. Blood is thickest, family is safest, blood protects, only blood respects, that's what you said. When you owned me, like a Latina mafia, you owned me. I'm not my own me, no, not my own me. In a Latina mafia, nah. There ain't no one else, ain't no one that can help, cause they on the outside. They believe all your lies, only see your disguise. The perfect family ties in our mafia, our Latina mafia. So no one believed me when you were hurting me. You turned what was family into childhood slavery. You owned me, like a Latina mafia, you owned me. I'm not my own me. Your actions spoke louder than any words. Was me that you broke, me that was hurt, but I was just a child. What the heck did I know? No choices, no safety, took my mind and my body, my truth and my voice, said this isn't really happening. Nah, that's what you did, not what you said. Not what you said, cause you owned me. Mind and body, yeah, you own me. I'm not my own me, no, not my own me. In a Latina mafia, nah. In a Latina mafia. Cuando crecí, me escapé, pasé a sanar. Yo podría cambiar lo que hace. Verdadera familia. But when I grew up, when I got away, when I started to heal, yeah, I found a new way. I realized I can redefine what makes a family, a real family. Believes me, respects all my boundaries, doesn't silence me, never forces me, knows I'm my own me, treats me kindly. We don't manipulate, yeah, we communicate. In my new family, my community environment for success, not abuse and incest, healthy and alive. We thrive while we survive with community, our chosen family, yeah.
Yes. So we need a few volunteers for the next part. This is part of the interactive moment. We're going to play a game called Negative Space. And it's a traditional theater game. I play this a lot with Enchanted Circle Theater out in Western Massachusetts. And it's similar to some of the Theater of the Oppressed exercises where you complete the image. So if you guys could help us maybe make a semicircle and we could have a few volunteers from the studio audience, that would be fantastic. Create a little bit of a larger group. I might stand over here. So with this game, one person begins the image and will come into the center and create a shape with their body. Could I ask someone to do that? Feels comfortable? Great. Thank you, Darwin. Great. And where her body is positioned is the positive space. And then wherever there's air, beside, underneath, above, is negative space. And so you're completing that image when you're adding onto the statue. So one by one, let's just volunteer quickly to kind of join her, and we'll create a group statue together. You can see that they're building different levels. Some people are high, some are low, some in the middle. And there's a kind of a story being created. So as you're here in the center, just take a breath in. Fill your body with air and energy and out. And then we're going to actually unravel from the last person down to the first person who started. Slowly making our way back to the semicircle. Beautiful. How did that feel? Great. When you joined the statue, what happened? Did something change in your body, something in your mind?
You know, there's the apprehension about what space am I going to fill up, and then you get, oh, okay, here I am. Good. So becoming a piece of a whole rather than a tentative approach.
Sure. So with this kind of like up close and personal theater game or activity, we want to practice safety measures and make sure that everything is adapted in a way that anyone who has a discomfort can very easily say, no, I don't like that, or no, I'd rather do it a different way. And so what I want to say is, like, you know, how would you guys particularly say, you know, at the beginning, you know, about touch, for instance, in this particular game? You know, how could I, even as a facilitator, have said something about whether touch is allowed or asking permission to touch someone's shoulder or head? Or
Well, you can always ask. You should always ask if you can. I guess you could guide them to do that.
And individuals can also state boundaries that they have. I don't feel like being touched right now. and that should always be respected.
Or even, some people might say, I'm fine if you touch my shoulder, but I'd rather you don't touch my stomach or, here or anything like that. So legs and arms and hands are fine, for example.
So creating a community and a culture where that kind of expression is permitted and actually normal. It's normal to say, actually, I prefer that you don't touch, me anywhere, that's not on the arms. And so kind of normalizing that sort of thing makes things safer for us as survivors. So we're going to play this game one more time, and let's actually practice that. So if you feel like you want to touch someone's elbow, ask, can I touch your elbow? And please say no or yes, okay? And I'd like to add a few dimensions to this. So how do we take a theater game like this and turn it into something more performative? We have some props that we can first add in, and they actually have text on them. So I'd love someone to actually describe what they are. Beth, can I ask you to do that?
Certainly.
So maybe you can even approach the camera. And
Which
show-
one does it
I don't know. Maybe this guy.
So this is a prop, but you might look like a candy, and it's a candy. And one of the scenes that we do, we have these candies passed out to the audience, and each one of them has a message on them created by cast members. So the skit is called Out of Denial. Out of Denial chocolate chew candies. So you can imagine what happens when you eat a few of these. You have to be able to see what's going on around you. And so you might choose to eat one, and you might choose not to. And then this one, and then there are individual messages from individual cast members. And then this one says, I do not have my glasses, but every act of healing challenges abuse.
Thanks, Beth. So let's all take one of those candies, scope out what your message says, and you can choose the whole phrase, you can choose a part of that phrase. If you don't like it, you can throw it back in and get a new one. You can choose one word from that phrase. Have that word in your head as we play negative space one more time. And this time I'd actually like to add a little bit of music. So maybe once we get going, if you could play that music track that's next. And we'll see if that also informs. So we're going to let the words, the text, inform our shapes. And then we're going to let the music also inform our shapes. Let's see what happens instinctually. Out of denial.
We believe you.
You can survive this. We believe you.
Free from lies.
Love is all that matters.
Unwind lust first. Before you leave, I'd just love to know, and we can turn the music down a little bit. What did you sense? What did you see? Maybe it's someone in the audience, someone that was in the sculpture. What did you feel? Beautiful power. Beautiful power.
Healing.
Love, healing, love.
Strength in numbers.
Thank you, everyone. So this is a taste of what our workshops look like and feel like. We look at really hard stuff that we've survived as we're healing, and we have a lot of fun as well, and we laugh. So in that vein, I'd like to introduce a few more selections from the world we live in. So let's get to it. Thanks, everybody.
My home is a house of cards, made up of the King of Spades, the Queen of Hearts, and the Joker. The look of a home is a facade of a precarious dance, of grandfather raping me, grandmother's silence, mother's mental illness, until I became a cyclone of poisoned flesh, unfit to occupy any longer, transforming myself down a rabbit hole of out of my body so deep I knew no other, becoming Alice in my land of hell, not missing home, but trying to find my way out through love, being loved. The memory of my body knew love as sex, saw love as drugs, knew in my bones the way out might just be death. Being loved. Being loved? The only way my brain could hold an idea so foreign, so absurd, was to create life. Love her with all my heart, so that she may love me back. And I tried and failed, even at that. 21 years old, falling down my rabbit hole so long, I was either falling so slowly, or it was a very deep well. And then I did it. I created her inside my womb and held my idea of home there. Death was no longer my option, and to survive, I ran to each new house, pretending it was home. My child, my daughter, growing up together. And I became a cyclone of healing flesh and spirit, knowing how it felt to fit in my body for the very first time, transforming myself into the spirit of home within my body, within my blood, within my bones, embedded in my memory, in my daughter's memory. I am home. We are home.
Everybody knows that healing from sexual violence can be a messy, time-consuming business. Flashbacks, nightmares, hypervigilance, it is the last thing you need on top of your busy schedule.
Now, there's normazepam. Normazepam works by suppressing unpleasant symptoms and eliminating troublesome memories caused by PTSD.
Based on the freeze response observed in laboratory primates, or library primates, really the same difference, normazepam mimics nature's dissociative processes to keep you looking great.
Why pay the high price of recovery, lose your support system, and be plunged into despair, all for a topic that your friends and family will not thank you for raising?
Indeed, because appearances matter, especially in Somerville. So, reach for normazepam.
It's good for you, great for everyone else.
Soon, they'll be wondering, is she normal?
Or is it normazepam? In clinical studies, normazepam was shown to cause facial tics and seizures in laboratory primates. Normazepam is not recommended for use on mammals. Ask your doctor if normazepam is right for you. Through healing, I can visualize myself achieving my goals with grace and dignity. I can visualize the shattered glass in my soul coming together and fortifying into something stronger, something that could change the world. Through healing, I remember that breaking my silence is a revolutionary act that vehemently pushes back against the shame and guilt and fear and says, no, I will not be broken by this. I can be loved. I am loved. And I am going to keep talking.
You know, I've created a life for myself, for the parts of me that split. The little girl parts that literally left my body because they could not understand, process, or bear what was happening to them. A place for them to safely land. The tricky part is, though, when one of these little girls comes back, and they come back as freaked out and as terrorized as they were when they chose to leave in the first place. So it's hard to not get sucked into that black hole of terror and stay with them. Look her in the eye and say, what a wonderful person you are, what a brave thing you did, and welcome her home.
It's finally knowing inside myself that I have the right to have rights and be treated well. It's finally letting go of the me that I thought I could be or could have been if I hadn't been hurt. And it's finally accepting the me that had the strength to survive, to heal, and to live despite the hurt. It's the me that I see in the eyes of the women around me.
There are rape survivors in my family line, from my great-grandmother, to my grandmother, to my mother, to me. I must shatter the silence of my family, like speaking to all of you, even if I'm afraid. The silence must end with me, so this doesn't happen to my daughter, and her daughters, and her daughters' daughters.
I'd love to take this moment to have the performers introduce themselves, if you don't mind, coming back into the spotlight a little bit. And maybe if we could just say our names, where you live, or what region, whatever feels right. And you know, it's really amazing and a gift to come together with people with very different backgrounds, experiences, and skills and experience in the arts. So if you have something that you do and have done in the arts across the spectrum, maybe mention that too, to give a sense of what you've been contributing to the artwork that you've been creating. It would be nice to know that. So, yeah, why not?
My name is Elizabeth Bolivar, and I am from Northampton, Massachusetts, where I was almost born and raised. And I have a background in theater, both teaching, stage managing, and acting.
I'm Beth Paulson. I also out in Western Mass live in Greenfield, where right now my house is my sculpture. I've just made this most incredible bathroom where you think you're in a beach, tiling, painting, everything. I have a design systems background, landscape architecture, sculpture, landscape design. So seeing something through a process. Love to sculpt, give me a welding tool, and I'm also a martial artist as well. So I don't like to speak that much.
My name's Isabella Hitana Wolf, and I'm from Northampton. And mostly my art right now is writing.
I'm Asher Rodriguez. I currently reside in Somerville, Massachusetts. I am a survivor tranny butch. I like to think of myself as a bit of a writer and a bit of a singer.
And I'm Melissa Redwin, and I'm from the Western Mass area, but originally North Carolina, and I'm a theater artist. Yeah. And I'd love just to have a brief conversation. I know it might be hard because you're standing. We could get a few chairs, or we could just stand. How do you feel? Okay. What I'd love for folks to talk about today, and there might actually be a person or two from the audience who've been in past Survivor Theater groups who might want to answer this question as well. So if you do, come up and line up with us and say your name and see if something inspires you to say. You're inspired to say something. But can we talk about just for a moment the crossover between the arts and healing? You know, what is it about the arts that contributes to or adds to or extends a healing process? It could be something that you've done in Survivor Theater Project or outside. But if we could just talk about that, because we're here as artists and it's our tool. It's like our mega tool. And I just want to hear from you personally what it's like for your healing process. So, do you want to introduce yourself?
My name is Deb Nunziato, and I'm a prior performer in the Survivor Theater Arts program.
Welcome. So, anybody want to go first? Inspired?
So since I was a kid, I've used poetry to help me get through some stuff, especially in my teenage years, because those were pretty rough. But there were some things that I couldn't even write about because it just got too deep, and I couldn't find a safe enough place. It was too scary. And it wasn't until I worked with these women in the Survivor Theater Project that I found a safe enough space to deal with these issues through my writing, through my art, and coming out as a survivor in and of itself. It really, I feel like all of my art prior to now, there was a piece of me missing that was curled up in a corner in the dark somewhere, and now all of my art has all of me.
For me, a lot of my healing work has all been done individually by myself with a therapist. So for me to express in art, Melissa is just so wonderful at digging out of you what your feelings are and your thoughts have been that you've held inside for so long that might not have necessarily come out in individual therapy, but just being triggered by listening to another theater member talk about their experience touches something deeper inside of you than you can possibly, I feel, for me, do individually. And it, like Asher said, there's a security level for you to go to a deeper level of healing in a group setting than there is to do it individually. So I was extremely healing for me. I absolutely enjoyed it.
I think being invited to this group, we didn't go and say, oh, knock on anyone's door and say, can you help me? It was like, do you want to come here and make art with us, and in the process do some healing work, you know? Having this forum to be expressive in a way that really our culture tells us not even to talk about at all. You know, just you heal yours, you heal yours, you heal yours, and we really don't even want to know. It's too icky to be able to just be here together and talk about this stuff. When I can talk about being blessed, we laugh about it because we know what it's about. Whereas people who don't necessarily have that background, or who do but aren't working on it, you know, it's a tough subject, but it's really transformative to be able to normalize it in a way, and not, you know, it's fucking not normal, but that our experiences don't set us apart. That's what this has really meant to me, to be able to say, hey, yeah, that's who I am. I'm okay.
Are there any specific things about Survivor Theater Project that, I mean, because there's the art and there's also coming together with other survivors, there's performing for an audience. I'm just wondering if any of those aspects specifically spoke to you in your process, in your life.
For me, the opportunity to share about this in a creative way in front of an audience was really transformative for me. And I think in our group, we were all very nervous our first show. But we've been working together for the past couple years now. And we've had all different types of audiences, from, you know, conferences of clinicians to our community back home, and to coming out to Cambridge, and just being heard and hearing people's responses, that, you know, you can share about this, and for once, in my experience, I'm not being told, oh, you know, you're probably overreacting, or, you know, why does this always happen to you? You know, I haven't heard any of that from my audiences. I've heard, thank you for sharing my story. Thank you for standing up and being able to say this. And for me, that's been it just broke me wide open in the best possible way.
Thank you guys so much. There's one more question that I feel like relates directly to what, you know, folks in the audience might be thinking, folks watching at home might be thinking, is what can I do? Like, what can I do as an ally? What if my friend says that they survived child sexual abuse, or they were raped, or they survived incest or trafficking or something? And what can I say? What can I do? And so I'm just wondering if we could speak to that for a minute. And what's like how do you respond that's actually supportive? Because I feel like I know I have, and I know a lot of other people that have had not a great response when I tell people that I survived child sexual abuse. And so I just want, you know, and we want some tools. Anything off the top of your head?
Don't sound horrified, because then I've got to take care of you.
Oh, yeah.
It's just a truth. It's just a truth that a survivor has to live with, and there's a difference between, you know, looking at someone and saying, I respect your truth, and I have compassion for you, and being like utterly horrified that something so awful could happen to them, because somebody that has been a survivor is most likely going to be like, oh, well, it's okay, don't worry about it, or, you know, say something, you know, to try to take care of you, and that's not really where they need to be.
Any other thoughts or ideas?
The whole belief thing, you know, sometimes it's just too horrible what you're hearing it's easier to say in this moment, well, I'm dead. But you're making that up, you're just lying, that's not true, it's not true. Nobody makes this stuff up. I mean, so, you know, it's so, just being open to believing that what you're hearing is true.
I just want somebody to say, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sorry, so sorry that happened to you. And to feel like a little piece of the rage and the grief and how hard it's been, just to have a little recognition and to have, you know, their heart open towards that. Thanks. And I also just want to say, like, speak up. if someone's dissing a survivor or their story or saying she's lying or whatever, speak up. You know, it's really easy to not say anything and let the moment go by, but those are the little moments that are going to make a difference in the bigger picture. Okay. Thank you guys so much. Let's give them a round of applause. We're going to do one more piece for you. I forgot where I was supposed to stand, and we need Ilana to join us as well. So we're going to sign off with this last piece. Where was it?
Wherever you want.
Matter. We're going to sign off with this last piece, the ending piece from The World We Live In Is Not the World We Live In, written by Elizabeth Bolivar. And we just want to say thank you all so much to our studio audience who came in today to be up close and intimate with us, so thank you. Thank you again to the Dead Air Live crew and Charlie Tesh for inviting us onto the show. We're really glad to be here. And so thank you guys so much. A complicated system in here. It's really great to see you all work it. Just speak up, speak out, support survivors, and any other final words of wisdom? Yeah. Thank you for witnessing and listening and interacting with us tonight. So first we're going to do the poem. First we're going to do the poem before the music. Yeah, wait till the end of the poem. Yeah, thank you.
The strongest woman you know worked through society's flaws.
Though people tried to destroy her, she got up and found a cause.
The strongest woman you know could have just closed her eyes.
Given up and lost faith in the world, but instead she's exposing the lies.
The strongest woman you know has a story she's longing to tell.
So hold her and honor her journey. See, she found the heaven in hell.
The strongest woman you know had the saltiest soil to grow.
Not alone, now in love, we are blooming. We're the strongest women you know.
Wonderful support, thank you. It's great to have you here at these events, so I really appreciate that. Your support of Dolly. She's just so like confident, just jumping right in.
Yeah.
then we can like send it out to different colleges and things and try to.
Is it 5?
Yeah.